What's going on, Mad Hatters, and welcome back to the Madhouse. And today we are joined by two-time Golden Mickey winner, Chris Oyola. How's it going, brother? How you been since we last had you on?
It's been good. Kind of glad to be back with Lorcana. We had a large break between season one, season two. I haven't played too much this
Hmm.
season. I mean, this year. So I was glad to be back with the community and again showcase my skills at the highest levels. I'm excited to be back and excited for the rest of season two.
Yeah, and what a time to be back, right? We have the
Yeah.
tournaments going, we have the DLCs, we have the crazy things like LCQs, a meta that is, I mean, honestly, I think this is the most diverse, wide open meta in set 10 that I've personally ever seen. And that being said, I didn't play in set 1, 2 and 3, so I don't know what that was like, but this it's a crazy meta. How you been liking it?
Still trying to figure out. My next tournament is DLC Singapore. It is
Mm,
best of one. I'll be honest. I think it will be a different meta than Richmond. Granted, I think the top decks will still top, but
mm,
I may play with something unorthodox that I would not recommend at Richmond just because of the best of one format.
yeah.
So yeah, I've been testing a lot of unique stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So, I mean, that's an interesting one. Lots of people going to Singapore, and we didn't talk about this before the stream, but
yeah,
we'll see where it
yeah.
goes. So, DLC Singapore, it's a best of one, and it reminds me of best of two in the sense that you're trying to find that deck that can win on the play and on the draw, so you go 2-0. But this one's a little bit different because if you run something unorthodox, then they can't prep for that, right? So you hit them with the surprise factor. So, I mean, do you just play something that's like, what do you think? Just hope to win the dice roll and win something that always runs over something on the play, or
Um, yeah, I guess to like hyper aggro definitely increases their win percentages just because your opponent who wins the die roll, let's say they have a slow start, I could just bulldoze them. Playing unorthodox tech might be beneficial
mm,
where it outweighs like the risk of running like in the three-game format. Hey, best of three, maybe something that's uninkable or maybe not the best. Like, hey, you need to win one game. You're going to play against a matchup where maybe this card's stellar,
mm,
and you need to include it. Where because that could be the difference between scrubbing out and topping. So there are some strategies that I'm playing that I'm testing out that I'm like, I probably would not leave it to Richmond because it's 12 rounds, best out of
yeah,
three. Like
mm,
it is going to be a higher probability. Like these techs are going to cost me a match, but
yeah,
I'm really playing 9 games.
yeah,
It's best out of one, 9 rounds. So it's just like if this card is good in 2 games, that's 20% of the tournament. So
yeah,
like that's how to think about it. So yeah, or then there's always the just play something try and true, purple steel. Hope you could just win on the play and the draw, and that's what I was very successful at Milwaukee. I
mm,
decided to play a deck that regardless of the die roll, I felt extremely confident I could win. So that's another thing. I'm like, so I just go with something try and true and something I feel comfortable with. Yeah, within a week. I'll be honest, I have no idea what I'm sleeving up.
yeah,
Still actively testing and hopefully I can get the cards before because I didn't really open up set 10, so I'm
mm,
probably gonna be asking people last second like probably for 3 different decks, and then I'll figure out when I land there what I'm gonna play.
yeah.
One of the
Hey,
few tournaments that I'm very unsure of
yeah.
what I'm gonna be playing.
Best of it's best of one's interesting, right? It
Yeah.
changes how you might want to normally do things. So it's going to be really interesting to watch. Hopefully it is streamed. I can't imagine it's not. So all of us back home can take part in some of the best of one madness. But yeah, so you brought up Richmond, getting ready for that, and you brought up Milwaukee, where you top eight, right? Where
Yes.
get that golden Mickey, and at Milwaukee, you ran a very spicy purple steel list. I mean, you ran finders keepers in purple steel. Like, what's going on with that list? What were we thinking there?
Okay, so I did play at DLC Bologna with Amber Steel. Did
Mm-hmm.
terrible. I did play in ICL against Kurt Spice. Got destroyed with Amber Steel. So I
Mm-hmm.
knew Amber Steel was not the deck. I just it's not my comfort pick. It doesn't feel like Steel Song. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Amber Steel aggro. I love Steel Song. I
Yeah.
love aggro mid range. A lot of agency of your play. I played Purple Steel a ton early on of set nine. But then I just put it back because I just couldn't figure it out. All the top lists were all the same. I thought it was a very arrogant statement, which I actually do agree with. But I think in a DLC or like against the top players in the world, where Purple Steel beats Flirtle because you can skill cap it. I
Hmm.
agree, but I think it's very arrogant for you to rely on that to top because you're going to be playing against DKP with Blurple. If your goal is to win the tournament, like
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be playing against someone who knows how to play Blurple, or even just like some like people you may not know. They know how to play the deck. They're going to DLC. They're investing their time and energy. They're going to play. They're going to know how to play Blurple. And I felt Purple Steel, the list available, they did not do that. And I tried and tried. And one thing I like to do is playing a lot of different decks. I know I'm known for Steel Song, maybe Steel Song, and maybe Purple Steel, but I actually play every single color combination. I try everything. I test things. I gladly rock 0 and 50 records with my brews. Like I know
Yeah.
people rock the other way. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm proud of my 0 and 50s because I learned so much. I gain new skills. I'm seeing the game differently. I have to discover different play lines, different board states that I've never seen, or just like I'm finding solutions for poor strategies. Like I'll find like, oh, Pluto's pretty good. Like just like defending my team. I'm like, oh, that. So I was like, oh, maybe I should put Pluto in Purple Steel. Um, so I was playing a lot of different decks, and then when I went back to Purple Steel, I don't have tunnel vision anymore. I'm not accepting the norms of the strategy. You got to play four docs. You got to play Yzma. You got to play Delore. Whatever whatever people like believe was the ideal Purple Steel list.
Hmm.
So I wanted to play a list where I still captured the essence of Purple Steel, where I beat the aggro, dogs, Amber Steel, which Purple Steel does. It has the one drops, two drops, and it creates a stalemate position. The Purple Steel matchup, I don't need to out aggro. I don't need the roses. I don't need to rely on the cobras. I don't need to curve out and strength. Like, yes, like those are the ideal lines of play.
Hmm.
But turn 5 to 6, all that energy you're expending is gonna stop. You either have to find a dock or have an Yzma trigger, something like that. So I felt confident that there's gonna be a stalemate position. That's the Purple Steel mirror.
Hmm.
If I go bigger via Finder's Keeper, more bells, Jasmine, Plutos, I'm gonna thrive in such a board state. And they're not going to be able to clear all my threats, especially if they use their strength prematurely, clearing off my genies. Like just like they're not going to realize like no, you're trying to win by turn 8. We're going to play until turn 18, and
Yeah.
I'm going to outlast them.
Okay.
And then with against Blorple specifically is my Finders Keepers are my docs. They're my second star because they're going to be into the unknown and Hadesing me. I end most of my games at 12-13 ink.
Yeah.
Every Finder's Keeper becomes another dock, and I throw 3 cards on the board. So, and because I'm also playing larger, dense, like characters that are more resilient, their removal is a little more challenging. Elsa doesn't really clear it. Pluto protects my team. I'm not relying on Yzma for draw. Yzma is
Hmm.
so easy to deal with. I mean, I play Purple Steel enough. Like it's a trigger. You're gonna bell me. You're gonna Elsa me. You're gonna Hades me. Like I need a guaranteed draw 3.
Yeah.
and and I felt that as long as I'm mulliganing aggressively towards like Elsa, or sorry, mulliganing aggressively towards strength, if I could stop the second star from happening within the first 5 turns of the game, I'm gonna win. You can play
Yeah.
second star at turn 8, 9. I don't care.
Yeah.
I need to ensure that you don't do a turn 5, have all the ramp, all the characters, and then have that continuation of characters like just like blowing me out. If
Hmm.
I can survive till turn 6, 7 without a second star resolving, I'm gonna win. And
Okay.
and that's all that theory did come to fruition. I did test a little bit. I played in once. Oh, sorry. Let me backtrack 1 second. I did play dogs. I know dogs was seen as like the skill deck. Like, oh,
Hmm.
you can outskill people.
Yeah.
I didn't really see it in that vein. Like, it's a skillful deck. It's just like it's doesn't really have inherent card advantage. Like I understand the principles of how to maximize out of it. I kept losing to Purple Steel, and I'm like, I know Purple Steel is going to be played.
Yeah.
And then the next set champ, I came forward with dogs, and then played Purple Steel. The list I pretty much played. and I didn't drop a game. Like out of like the 6 or 7 rounds I played, including finals, I didn't drop a single game. It
Mm-hmm.
was all 2-0s, and it wasn't even close. So I felt very good with my list. The thing is, I didn't have a lot of reps in the sense of like I have like hundreds of games of data with my list. I had about 20, 30. Obviously, I knew how to play Purple Steel, and I know like, but I just didn't have the confidence where I could tell like the rest of my team. I did tell my team members like, hey, this is, I believe this is the right approach.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I wish I was, I guess, champion a little bit, but I just didn't have that confidence. I always tell people play their comfort picks. Like,
Yeah.
we'll probably discuss a little bit about DLC, deck choices, preparation. Definitely play
Mm.
your comfort picks. But yeah, it wasn't until like midway into the tournament that I feel like, oh, I have the best list in the room, or my approach to Purple Steel, or even my playstyle is different than everybody else in the room, and I felt good after like round 3 or 4.
Yeah. I mean, Spicy Purple Steel did pretty good. You had you with your spicy list making top 8. Frank took it with his spicy, very
Yeah,
Frank signature list,
yeah,
taking the whole thing. And hey, I've said it before all the time. There's something really magical about running a spicy list because people study the meta. They watch, the content creators and watch what they post and everything, and they see the same thing and it's doing well. So they want to just take that list and do it, and then they don't know how to respond to spicy. And that's, if they can't pivot after game one, after they lose to the spice, then it ends up being a 2-0. And I think that's one of those big skill gap things that a lot of people talk about. I think a prime example of this was DKP's list, and when he won Melbourne, like they were a lot of newer players, so they just didn't know how to pivot to to combat this really spicy red blue list. And then on top of that, DKP showed that, I mean, like he was a master at that deck. So a lot of things went into it. But I wanted to talk about in particular. So you went into Milwaukee. You have a busy schedule, man. You have a busy schedule like me. You're flying around a lot. You're never home for your job and things like that. So how are you able? We have a lot of people that started more recently. They're going to DLC Richmond maybe for the first time, and I've been getting a lot of questions like, "Hey, how do I test? How can I go about setting myself up most optimally to play?" And I have a family, I have all this going on, so I don't have a lot of time to spend 40 hours a week pushing decks. What kind of advice would you have for them on how they can practice?
yeah. There's a few things. I would say just be realistic about your goal of DLC Richmond. Are you there to have
Oh,
fun? Are you there to win? Are you there to top? Just so you can have your expectations set. So not so you can have that put the preparation the right way. Just because I do feel people maybe take Lorcana a little too personally
mm,
when they strive for I want to win, and those are great goals. But there's like I just feel sometimes like a lot of the competitive scenes really pushing about optimization, doing this, winning. Like not everyone's there to win. So just really be honest with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. What is your goal in
yeah.
Richmond?
Okay.
Then I would say, okay, if your goal is to win, I would probably advise net decking. Yes, spice is rewarded, but if you're really limited with your time,
Mm-hmm.
just really hone in on a deck. Realistically, the 60 cards you run, if it's topped and done well, it's probably good enough to top. Like any DLC,
Mm-hmm.
there's very minimal spice. It's really like very few players like really find breakout decks. So, or like I see players and chatters on Discords, Twitter, Reddit's, whatever. What's the best 60? Can you release this list? Like, yes, those are great. As long as you have a great foundation of something that's topped, that's probably not holding you back from being consistent. So now, in terms of gameplay, I want to talk about like, hey, what's your direction at Richmond and your
Mm-hmm.
deck choice? Now, how do you practice and prep? I would say definitely play open handed and have open dialogue with your testing partners. You can play 40, 50 times. There's some players who play on various online testing methods that play
Mm-hmm.
thousands of times,
Yeah.
2,000 times, maybe 100 games in 2 days. And for me, I think there's diminishing returns when you're just grinding. Like
Yeah.
you've gained nothing, you've
Mm-hmm.
learned nothing, and if anything, the reason that makes why I'm so effective as a player is I don't play as much. When I'm playing, I have to analyze lines A, B, C, D, and E at the same degree. I don't have thousands of reps with a certain deck where I'm so like used to lines A and B being try and true, always focusing. I evaluate every line of play with the same degree. I've measured the pros and cons. I'm very flexible. I play very fluid. I use a lot of like context clues of what my opponent's thinking, what's their direction, what does my hand say? Do I, just because purple steel is a mid range deck, hey, maybe this time I have to be aggro. Maybe this one I have to like stall out, and that was something that made me successful in Milwaukee is players were not used to someone inking their one drop.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're probably thinking like I did in my top 16, and like that's a demonstration of like I played the deck differently. So definitely having open dialogue and discussing, it's going to expand your horizons. Like when you're playing in tournaments or grinding out where you don't know what your opponent's doing, if you're making mistakes, you're not improving. So I feel like with open hand, it's harder to make mistakes. You can ask your opponent what they're trying to achieve, and then maybe you can start thinking lines differently.
Mm-hmm.
So you can gain so much more from just talking, like playing 3 games in 2 hours, talking about it, as
Yeah.
opposed to playing 10 games in 2 hours where nothing was really accomplished. So I would say definitely utilize your time more effectively, pop through like minimal games, but like studying, discussing.
Mm-hmm.
So I do coaching, and I've noticed with my coaching that I spend at least 30, 40 minutes with my clients. We're just doing like opening hand from Dreamborn, just doing discussions. And I realized something through my coaching is if you cannot have a conversation about an opening hand for at least 10 minutes, you are not thinking of Lorcana the right way. And again, this is just for competitive. This is like now I'm talking about if your goal is to top and win.
Yeah.
You need to be able to talk about an opening hand, discuss every single ink choice, every single board state that you can counter against the entire meta. If you cannot talk about an opening hand for 10 minutes, you need to really evaluate how you're forcing the game. I believe the early game is turn 1 and 2. Turn 3 and onward is the mid game. So, and I think we all know how the mid game is for most decks.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Steel probably wants to ramp on turn 2. On turn 3, have Cinderella, so it'll be on 5 ink. Purple Steel probably wants to curve out 1, 2, and 3 drop. Dogs wants to have at least 4 characters or 3 characters to have the tramp 7. Like forecast. So look at your hand. Like, what am I going to ink? Like, how am I going to do? So that's where I'm saying like discuss your hand for at least like 5 to 10 minutes at a minimum, where you're forecasting what you're going to ink. And what I like to do is when I'm looking at a hand is just imagine the next 3 or 4 cards are the next 2 or 3 draws are all uninkables. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what actually helped me a lot playing Steel Song. I just assumed every card in my draw is a whole new world. How am I gonna? What's the board state I envision on turn 3 with my hand currently?
Yeah.
Does it speak aggro? Does it speak control? Do I need to slow down? What is my opponent? How do I counter my opponent's like start? So definitely just really figuring out the early and mid game and just looking at Dreamborn and just like you can either talk to someone or just write notes about it. And then if you're thinking about all this stuff, implement it the next time you play a game. Like, hey, when I was thinking about it, I was trying to always achieve this. I'm thinking about inking this. Test it out. I do ink very unconventionally at times. Like when I play Steel Song, I've inked Aerial Spectacular Singer on turn 1 multiple times. I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure you go to DLC and someone watched me play Steel Song, I'm pretty sure 99.99% of the people say, like, what is Chris doing? Or like, if they didn't know it was me, they think I'm misplaying. They don't.
Yeah.
I've never played Steel Song. Like, no, I'm like, no. I see where the board's gonna go. I see that I'm gonna curve out. Lawrence will be on turn 3. I have Rapunzel as my whole new world. It's gonna draw. Like, I'm gonna control the board with my singers. Like, Ariel's singer sacrifices tempo. It's
Mm-hmm.
weaker. Lawrence is gonna provide greater value. So it's just something like I saw all that from turn 1, how the game's going to develop. So that's something like definitely I would harp on players is really trying to master like forecasting development. So yeah, again, a lot of this doesn't really involve playing Lorcana. You could just be like in the bathroom, just like on your phone, like looking at Dreamborn, just like thinking about it, just doing like mental exercises, looking at ink decks, like like if you can't get to the store, I'm just providing some alternate ways to prep.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I firmly believe early and mid game, sorry, the early game, the ink choices, turn ones and turn two. This is what separates the top players from the rest. Like players are not harping on what I've discussed, like doing this. Like they're so used to like, oh, the deck guide says mulligan for this. These are the keys to the matchup. I'm like, cool. Like, but what is the mood of the game? What is
Yeah.
your opponent trying to do? Like, yes, that's the key to the matchup, but your opponent is not playing that typical matchup style, or your hand doesn't tell you like you're going to be the aggressor, you're going to be the control player. Like your hand doesn't dictate that, so you
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to adjust. So I feel players can gain a lot from just, I guess, playing the Lorcana less at times. It just like really like just doing like mental like brainstorming of it. So yeah, and again, that's what I do. And then if you do want to brew, if you have limited time, I really don't emphasize. I really wouldn't push for it. But if you are one like, hey, I want to find the secret sauce, the secret tech, this is gonna allow me, because this is what I do. I look at Dreamborn a lot. Like even though like when I'm flying, I'm gonna filter out draw, gain lore. What is the most powerful thing? I'm gonna filter from top to bottom, the highest cost to the lowest. I'm gonna also look at the lowest to the highest. Like, okay, what low cost guys gain a lot of lore?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like what like so I look at Dreamborn probably, even though I may not play Lorcana for 2 weeks, I probably look at Dreamborn daily for at least 10 minutes, just reading the entire library of legal cards for every single color combination. I'm like,
Yeah.
is Ruby Steel the secret sauce? Blue yellow? Like I look at it a lot, and yeah. So if that's something you can do, if you really want to like, hey, I want to find a secret sauce, I want to play my own strategy,
Mm-hmm.
definitely look at Dreamborn a lot and filter out like keywords, drawing, gaining lore, banish, keywords, like very powerful
Yeah.
keywords, or seeing what's the most powerful thing you can do. Because I do think there are some players who don't really challenge the norms. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't want to be too critical of my colleagues, but I do feel like the reason I've been successful at tournaments is I do play unconventional. I do
Mm-hmm.
find unorthodox things. So I do think there is innovation to be found. And yeah, and the
Yeah.
players who do find innovation, this is what they do.
Yeah, I mean, and innovation to be found in set 10 is the name of the game right now. I think CCS is going to be crazy. I think we're going to see some major spice doing really well. I think the same thing will happen
Yeah.
at DLC Richmond. I really liked what you had to say about just perusing through Dreamborn often, because earlier we talked about Singapore and we're talking about maybe you run that tech option or that super spicy list to catch people off guard. You can't be caught off guard too much if you have a full understanding of what all the cards in the game do. And on top of that, it also kind of protects you from maybe your opponent understands the card wrong, or the opponent tries to pull something on you, and maybe it's not even malicious. They just don't know. So if you know the cards though, then it protects you in that manner as well. So I think that's some really good. It's all good advice, but I think
Yeah.
that is really good advice. Just being, because Dreamborn is such a fantastic piece that we have, that we
Yeah.
can easily go through all those cards and look for specific things like filtering draw and banish and two lures and things like that. So I think filtering ward might, if you're playing
Yes.
a heavy action removal deck, what ward might really mess you up is a good one. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Exactly.
That's a unique one that I haven't heard before. So I wanted to bring up something, and you mentioned that it was actually good, really good for you. But for some people, they go to DLCs and they, even if they might not be the best player and they know that, they're still like, what if I win the Golden Mickey? And I think I'm going to. And then they go there and they don't. Maybe they don't make top 128, top 64. Maybe they don't even get the Mulan, right? How you went to Bologna? You're someone that's made a lot of top day twos. You've won 2 Golden Mickeys now. How do you bounce back from going to an event and you just don't do great, because we still have Indianapolis coming up. We still have CCQs and all these other things. So how do you bounce back? How do you kind of just continue going on and brush it off, so to speak?
Yeah. So it does go to why I play Lorcana.
Mm,
To answer that, I had to discuss that. So I play Lorcana for a slew of reasons. One, um, I've mentioned before in previous podcasts, or just maybe you'll have seen, I design my own card battler. I'm trying to release it. So
mm,
my goal is to promote myself as a brand. So just being in the community is already a win.
yeah.
Just hanging out, chilling, and vibing. So the result of the tournament is sometimes not that important
Mm,
because I'm just there to vibe and just connect with people and just hang out. Um, then there's a competitor in me. I think we talked before. I
yeah.
box. I've done sports competitively, and also I play other card games at a competitive level.
Mm,
Lorcan is the first game I've been like, I guess like a national talent, maybe global talent. I'll let people throw me out like what do you view me as, but
mm,
most times I was just like a local, like the New York City tri-state, like I'm a top player in those games, but just like never had that world success.
yeah.
So, but I'm one that second place is first place loser. I am extremely, extremely competitive.
Mm,
So I also do battle that point. So yes, it hurts when I lose. Like, like I want to win. But off the beautiful thing about Lorcana that other games sometimes don't provide me at times is often you lose because of yourself, your
yeah.
ink choice, a
Yep.
poor line of play, and I mean it's just something, or even like a poor deck choice. So when I did bad at Bologna, I used it as fuel. As hey, I evaluated the meta poorly. I didn't play as tight as I should have been. I reanalyzed my games. I'm like, could have probably inked a little better here. So it just for me, it's just like, hey, it's on me. Like my opponents, like I think two of my opponents topped that event. So it's like, okay, I had to play against quality players, like but it's just at Bologna. So I was like, okay, I felt like better. Like, okay, like I played against some of the best players in the room. Like I can't be too hard, but at the same time, it's like it's on me. I lacked the preparation. I didn't test the meta, and that's what fueled me to go to Milwaukee. I'm like, let's go back to Purple Seal. Let's really challenge the norms of the deck. So like, for me, it's just whenever I lose and I didn't get the desired result, it's just like it's fuel for fire. Like I love when I lose. Like
Mm,
I don't want to lose like at a national championship, maybe a DLC top cut or worlds. But
mm,
like anything leading up to those other like to those events, like I don't mind losing because it's like, hey, I have something to build towards because you didn't get the desired result. Like when I win too much, it's harder to be critical. It's like, okay, I got the desired result. Is it my
mm,
deck? Is it my play? Like what's there to improve? You got what you wanted. And that's something like when I see some other players who like are a little don't get those desired results. I think that's something that where they come from. They play at local events, they do quite well, and they're
mm,
not really reflecting on their victories in the same degree as their defeats.
yeah.
I try as best as I can to reflect on my victories and defeats the same manner, which is what makes me quite consistent because I play differently because I'm critical of like, hey, how could I play better?
Mm,
So yeah, so that's a competitive player in me. Like, hey, it just challenges me. Like, hey, gotta grind some more. And then um, yeah. So and then yeah, I'm trying to think what's in other points. I just forgot it for a second. But DLCs are just a great place to just hang out and vibe.
yeah.
Like it's like I do like even if you don't get those desired results, you're gonna meet like-minded people. You can trade, you find artists. Like it's an experience. So
Mm,
don't feel too bad. Like hey, you didn't do too hot in the main event. I've seen people who done amazing at the side event the next day or the day before, and then they bought a bunch of like play mats. Like
yeah.
or vice versa. I've scrubbed some side events. Like I think I played one of those competitive side events. I did really bad. Like I was giving people wins for free. Like, hey, I'll play for practice, but I don't care about the tickets. Like I care about the
Yeah.
main event. Like I knew like I wasn't going to get like significant tickets, but
Mm,
I knew people were doing the side event grinds. I'm like, hey, just I 2-0 them or we drew, and I'm like, you got the win. Just say you won. I don't care. Just
yeah.
get side event tickets. Like, and it was actually Seattle. I ended up topping Seattle, so it's just like I use the competitive. So it's just like, but then I know there's some players who won that side event, and then there's a lot of ways to guess have fun at the DLC. Like there
Yeah.
was one player from my area in the New York area. He actually has like a TikTok, Instagram. He's fairly popular.
Okay.
Quest of Cole. He went
Yeah.
0-7 or 0-6 at the main event.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously not the greatest result. He had a blast at Sunday because he kept winning all the sealed events and he was able to get like a playmat, some promos. So, like just because you didn't get what you wanted, like in the main event, there's a lot of ways to have a strong, fun experience. And then,
Yeah.
and there's like, I don't really talk to, I mean, I'm cool with all of the pros, I guess, all the top players, like they're all my colleagues and everything, but I actually connect more with the random people. Like I have more conversations, like 10, 15, 20-minute conversations with like random people. Like there was a guy who was like feeding his newborn baby in
Yeah.
between rounds. Like, and we talked for like 15 minutes in between rounds, just shooting the crap, like we were just vibing and just like, okay, like I receive more enjoyment just connecting with random people. Like I'm playing Riftbound now and I'm going to Houston for a tournament. I'm
Okay.
rooming with a guy I've met at the DLCs. Cool dude. He's not part of my team. He's not a pro player. He's just some guy I'm cool with and just
Yeah.
like down to earth dude. So it's just like I feel like I win a lot outside of the game
Mm-hmm.
in these tournaments. Just like, hey, I'm just connecting, networking, and just like I use DLCs or Lorcana as a way to decompress from my crazy hectic work schedule and my personal life. Like I'm here to have fun. Like so or just talk and just chill and vibe. So like I feel like every DLC I do win because yeah, like I'm just having a good time.
Yeah. I think that's what it's all about, right? I mean, you said a couple things that I think I really want to hit on before we kind of close things out. But
Yeah.
one of the big things that you hit on was analyzing your wins as much as your losses. And I think for example, so when I stream every win, I just kind of chill out with the chat after that. We don't really talk about the game. But when I lose, we spend some time talking about like, all right, turn 3, there was this difficult line. And so we always analyze that. And, I maybe now we need to kind of reattack that and be like, all right, we won. I think one of the key moments was actually turn 3 when I inked this card versus that card, and that's really what turned the table. So analyzing, because you won, why did you win? I think that's also really important to look at. And then the other thing that you hit on is just having fun. Like that's really what it's all about. I think that's why we do it. And that's one of the fun things about Lorcana. Someone asked me the other day at work because they found out that I did content creation, and they're like, "What's Lorcana?" And I was like, "Oh, it's it's this card game, like you think Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic, all that stuff." And they're like, "Oh, well, cool. Like how does it play out?" And I was like, "Well, and I described it as a board game, right? Because you really only lose to your own strategy. Like, yes, there's times when your opponent has like this 100% hard counter thing, right? Or they just have the god hand. But for the most part, you lose to your own strategy because your opponent can't do anything during your turn. And so you got to go have fun, meet people, talk to people. I met a guy on stream last night, 2 games Nathan, I believe is his thing, but he's in the Atlanta area, and we just chilled out.
Oh, he's on Team Uninkables. Middle aged,
Probably.
maybe like older dude.
Yes,
Older dude.
yes, I
Yeah,
believe
was a
so.
kid. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I've
So,
seen Nathan in a bunch of the DLCs. He
okay.
sometimes goes to Invitational in Maryland. Yeah, yeah. I know
Okay.
Nathan.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I played
So,
against him. Yeah. So it's something
okay.
like like, it's a
Yeah,
small world
it
in some
is.
ways. Even though it's a large game, it's also a small world.
It is. It's a super small world. And so hopefully I'm going to make it down to CCS, and we're going to run into each other. And, I get to run into just a bunch of people that I normally wouldn't get the opportunity to. It reminds me a lot of the military. In the military, it's a very small Air Force. So you move all the time, and then you always end up running into each other again and reigniting these memories and things. And that really is what it is all about. If you win a Mulan, if you win a Matt, a Golden Mickey, that just adds to it. Like no one's gonna be upset about that. But I think
Yeah.
for the majority of people that go, Lorcana is not their full-time job, right? Lorcana is
Yeah.
that thing that just we do to have fun and enjoy life. But no, man, I really appreciate it. I think that's a fresh outlook on everything, and that we need to hear. I think a lot of people really need to hear right now because they weren't playing or they never been to a DLC, and DLC Richmond is like the hot thing right now, or maybe they went to DLC Milwaukee and didn't do as well as they wanted. So I think that's a really good take, and I really appreciate
Yeah.
that, man. So I know you're part of Team Lux, right? Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I should have
Yeah.
verified first, but like,
It's like,
but any shout outs, anything you want to, any last words or anything like that?
yeah. I'm actually gonna be starting a driving like car podcast because Medify reached out to me a couple times last year. Now this year, especially after my success in Milwaukee, is how they build my brand.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have too much time for coaching yet. If you want coaching, it has to be only the weekend, and I'm willing to help anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really, I charge a competitive rate, but everyone I've coached, our lessons went to 90 minutes to 2 hours, and I don't charge them an additional hour. So it's like I'm not there for the money. So yeah, so I do coaching, but I'm also just going to do like a podcast. It might be just like sort of like a little vlog, but also just like competitive insight because I do feel presently there's a lot of information in Lorcana that's not helping players transition to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So my real job is I'm a biomedical field service engineer. I teach scientists and doctors how to run our medical equipment. I also fix it and set it up and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we have two different types of manuals: user manuals and service manuals. So this is how I view like guides at times. Like I know I'm pooping on the guide creation. Even I'm probably going to create a guide one of these days, but I do feel a lot of players are involved in Warcon, especially if you're listening to you, Cody, or just like looking at Discords. You're
Mm-hmm.
enthralled and competitive, trying to gain that information. I do feel that your people just really have access to the base level stuff
Yep.
as user manuals. Like, like when you get a computer, do you look at the manual? You probably just play around, tinker around with it.
Yep.
And when stuff goes bad, you're going to start putting error codes on Google. So you need a service manual. So that's how I view like Lorcana a bit. So that's why I wanted this podcast is like, guys, you don't need a user manual. You need a service manual. You need to know how to troubleshoot. You need
Mm-hmm.
to know like, okay, how do I think of this game? What questions to ask myself? How to ink? And like, this is what I want to like teach people. And this is why when I was talking about like, hey, you really need to talk about opening hands for 5-10 minutes. It's not about when I'm playing turn one. That's not the questions I'm asking. It's like, what are you trying to achieve? What are you inking? How do you forecast the board? Like, my opponent does purple seal does this. What are you gonna do? If they play green, I'm gonna do this. What is the like? This is like, if I ink this, what does that indicate to you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you change how you're playing with your opening hand? So like, players don't know what they don't know. So like, I want to create a podcast more competitive, just really discussing what is in my brain and just dispersing that information because I really think what players really need is a service manual, how to think Lorcana. And the advice I give, or even what I'm thinking about, is it transfers to every archetype. I'm not teaching you how to play Purple Steel or Steel Song. I'm teaching you how to play the game of Lorcana.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people really need. So yeah, it's definitely something I want to do. So I think the best way is just to record myself, just like driving, because yeah, I'm on the road like 3-4 hours a day. So I'm not really in front of a computer. So
Yeah.
I talked to the Medify team. They're thinking this might be the best approach. So I already recorded a couple of things. I deleted a couple. Like I got a little lazy about uploading. Still trying to figure out what's my first episode, first one. I think it's going to be Opening Theory though.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I'm going to release. I had like a DLC Milwaukee recap, but I'm like, it's already been like 3 weeks. I
Yeah.
think it's a little too late, but I don't know. I'm like, again, it's just something I had to like figure out. And then Thanksgiving next week, Singapore. So I'm just like trying to figure stuff out. But yeah, I'm starting a podcast series on my Medify. Um, yeah, if you want to do coaching, shout out to Luxury Gaming. Thank you for the amazing weekend in Milwaukee and always like being there for me. You know, they know I have like some personal issues with my
Mm-hmm.
life that, you know, they're always there to support me. You know, like
Yeah.
they know like I don't have time to dedicate to Lorcana in the sense of like playing 24/7, but when I do practice and prep, or if they ask me questions, I'm going to give them the right information. So
Yeah.
I'm glad they view my information valuable, and you know, I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Yeah, and then yeah, just excited for season two, and yeah, Milwaukee was not only a way for me to get back into the to the game, but also to see like how the community is. You know, there's been a lot of talks in the past year, little dramas here and there.
Yeah.
So I was glad to be back. I'm like, you know what? All that chatter is like meaningless. You know, like you
Mm-hmm.
know, like everyone there is here to vibe and have fun. Like I still see some stuff. I'm like, guys, you're focusing on the wrong things, guys. Come on, play the
Yeah.
game of Lorcana, have fun. So
Hey, that's what it's all
yeah,
about, right? F is for
exactly.
friends. U is for, oh no, I
You
forgot
and
the
me.
acronym. You and me. And it's for anywhere
F
and
is
anytime at all.
and is yeah, yeah.
Well, sweet,
Here in
man.
Z plus, yeah,
Here
yeah.
in the deep blue sea. So
Yeah,
I really appreciate you coming on, brother. It's always a pleasure.
yeah.
I think this is the third time, I think. So
Maybe
um
second. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
one. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
one or the other. So, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. I'm going to put his Metafy down below. If you guys can keep an eye out for his podcast, it will happen. I will push him about
Yeah,
it because we have a lot of people
yeah.
who want to start things and then analysis by paralysis. So I will bug you about it.
Okay,
But
alrighty.
that other than that, guys, that's hey, if you leave here with anything, remember it's about having fun. And then when you have fun, you keep that morale up, you keep that headspace clean, and the good things will happen. I promise. So with that being said, thanks for coming, man. Everybody, all the hatters, stay happy and healthy. We're gonna
Yeah.
see you around. All right.